Normally, if there is a very good manager, I'm not been trained in management. I should have closed the session and then had tea. But I'm always looking at the needs of our people, so we had to break. I was trying to do my keynote address in the afternoon, my purpose of management of time with Dr. Anand very kindly insists that I finish it now, and we'll try to manage time. Lunch may be a little late, but we make the lunch break shorter, okay? So I had given a PowerPoint, which hopefully will come up on the screen. I'm not going to take very long because originally I inserted a keynote to manage our time with Shailesh, who's an extremely person with very tight engagements. Is the PowerPoint there? It's not there. It's okay. Doesn't matter. I basically titled my presentation as Healthy Citizens, Peaceful Societies, and a Healthier Planet. This particular title, Healthy Citizens, Peaceful Societies, and Healthier Planet, was a title of the concluding chapter for a very significant UNESCO book on water, energy, food nexus. The nexus is also something that at least the students here can try to look at, which is being published by Springer Nature. We fought with Springer Nature and made sure it can be open domain so that anybody can access. Because even publishers with academics can become very greedy. If you publish in Springer Nature and you want your own print back, they'll ask you $25, $50. And I even told UNESCO I won't write the concluding chapter unless, and we want them to be very soon out. And I chose the concluding chapter. It's a very wonderful book on Southeast Asia, East Asia, and water, particularly the kind of issues on water and energy and food. I think for ourselves and for the young people here, apart from what Shailesh told you so pointedly, so succinctly, I'm not sure I really thank Arun Subramanian to have brought him in such 30 minutes. He summarized for us our duties as human beings, as citizens, and how we should also put government to account. I hope I'm not asking you to take my title as your slogan, but I think there can be a future for this country only if you have healthy citizens, you have a peaceful society, and therefore contribute to a healthier planet. Healthy citizens is extremely important. Yesterday, I met one of our PhD students from India, and she was doing something on aging. And we got into a conversation about the differences in demography of old people, young people within our own country, between states, for example. In that context, we talked about the demographic dividend. If you go and Google demographic dividend in India and look where we are in terms of dividend, okay, southern states are doing much better, and demographic dividend is almost equivalent to Southeast Asian countries. But the rest of India is in a very, very poor state. What it shows is that we are an extremely unequal society. We are not going towards equity and equality, and our inequity and inequality has accelerated at a very rapid rate in the past few years. This is terrible. In my own life and work as an economist and as a social scientist, and in terms of field work, starts long back, when there are so-called conflicts between communities. We label everything as communal conflicts, but communal conflicts are only like when you have a fever and you have a rash, it's only the symptom of something deeper. Unemployment. Youth have nothing to do. They're readily available, and they can be summoned for anything. And in this country, when I say anything, we know what it means. You know what it means. Because we live in a more peaceful area and so on, sometimes we don't reflect it, but it will also ultimately reflect us. So peaceful society is extremely important. For the sake of the younger people here, and we may not have done the connection to the SDGs, In 2015, the world leaders at the UN General Assembly adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals. I've had a debate within my colleagues in the UN, why 17, not 15, not 16. And I told them there should be an 18th SDG called happiness. Maybe you can create the 18th agenda, SDG called happiness, and create happiness indicators. And this is all available, and we know what we are in our happiness, in the happiness index of the world, where India is. But it's you have to be happy. After the 2016 agenda was, PPT is arrived. I always arrive late like our Indian trains. So, after 2015, in 2019, see, I won't go into details of the mechanism of how the SDG is done within the United Nations. There are regional conferences called Asia Pacific Forum and so on, in which DSP is actually been participating. And then at the global level, they have what is called the High Level Political Forum. The High Level Political Forum corresponds to the UN Economic and Social Council, and it is the same status. And every year in July, it meets and reviews, states make reports and so on. In 2019, why I chose 2019 is a year before the pandemic. The UN Secretary General said this: direct economic losses from disasters have increased by more than 150% over the years, with losses proportionately borne by disproportionately borne by developing countries, and wealth inequality risk undermine efforts to achieve sustainable development. They threaten to erode social cohesion. This is very relevant in our context. Our social cohesion is being frayed terribly. We can't afford this. Women have to go out to the streets, and they should make sure that there's peace there, there's no riots that breaks down, and that they can return home safe. Last night over dinner with our group, we were talking about different experiences our own professors have faced. It's for you to ensure that social cohesion can happen, and the UN SDG says all this inequality and others risk social cohesion, entrench insecurity, and dampen process. Rising intolerance in many parts of the world threatens fundamental human progress. The nexus among inequality, justice, inequality, and lack of sufficient, governments, all these kinds of things make government further hinder the necessary conditions for sustainable development. I won't go, but this particular point I just want to talk is the UNSG is the next point. The point that I'm focusing here is on the pressure on our biodiversity, which Shailesh already spoke about, the way in which our land use patterns are changing, and how land use patterns are so connected to revenue departments and not to environment. I myself, a 7-acre organic farmer just 15 kilometers out of the city, and I call myself a displaced farmer because I'm surrounded by real estate, and the rest is when I'm not speaking to good people like Dr. Anand, Dr. Uma, and Dr. Mahesh, and all our nice colleagues here. He knows very well. I'm spending time at the Taluk office battling revenue officers. People ask me, why are you spending so much time? Yesterday, Joe DeCruz told me, pay the money and do it. No, I said, no, it's a moral issue. Second, I'm telling you this for the sake of the students, it's not trying to talk about my life. When I retrieved half an acre of encroached land by a real estate dealer, people in the village came and thanked us. Some of them touched my wife's feet. That's the state in which we are, in which yesterday we talked about not only policy gaps, policy complete disorientation, but at the ground level, we have no way to look at where landscapes are changing, land use planning is going on, which then makes it very difficult to integrate natural capital, ecosystem services that they provide, and so on. And if you talk in a very broad sense. Now, there are any amount of literature available post-COVID. I'm sure there's a lot of scientific work before that on the impact of these changes of disruption to landscape. For the people from Karnataka, for my example, this railway line to Ankora, We don't know what viruses it will set off. But it's very clear, even COVID as a pandemic, it was very clear the kind of disruption to land, the kind of ways in which we open up the earth produces viruses that unheard of viruses. And they mutate. We know in the case of COVID. And in the case of COVID, it transmitted from animals, whatever, to human beings. So changes in habitat types are creating a prevalence of infectious diseases. This is worrisome.